Some people will look at this and be like, yeah, lock up Diddy, lock up this guy, they're da-da-da. On paper, this is almost verbatim the same thing that Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan Tate are being charged.
Ruslan.
Former Abercrombie and Fitch CEO Mike Jeffries and romantic partner arrested on trafficking. I saw Abba and Preach cover this. I had heard about this a while ago, that there was all this weird stuff happening with Abercrombie and Fitch, which was, I don't really know anyone that wore their stuff, like ever. Like I think I've been into the store maybe once.
Yep.
But apparently they had this entire racket of men who they were paying.
It was like a gay thing? It was a gay thing?
They were officially charged with this. Now, again, people get confused on what trafficking is. Okay? We're going to come back to that idea in a second. Okay? But this is what it says. It says on Tuesdays, they were charged of luring dozens of men into parties held around the world, sometimes by dangling the promise of modeling for the clothing retailer. First of all, like how could it understand if it was like Louis Vuitton or Gucci or, you know, Prada, like Abercrombie and Fitch? Like, we're going to lure, like, you're going to be a famous model wearing Abercrombie and Fitch at the runway. Like, what?
You know, they had some clout. I think they were what, the high-level Hollister?
Listen, people out here are hungry for opportunities. And if you are still programmed to think that opportunities are only controlled by gatekeepers that can put you in positions to get on, then you're going to fall for this sort of debaucherous, goofy stuff. Okay, so Jeffrey's partner, Matthew Smith, and their employees, James Jacobson, operated an international trafficking business from 2008 to 2015 using Jeffrey's status, wealth, and a web of household staffers to fulfill the couple's desires. Keep it all secret, according to an indictment unsealed in federal court in Brooklyn.
Wow.
The charges follow misconduct allegations made in lawsuits and the media from young people who said Jeffries promised modeling work and then pressed them into sex.
Darkness.
Jeffrey's attorney, Brian Bieber, said by mail he would respond in detail to the allegations after the indictment is unsealed and when appropriate, but planned to do so in a courthouse, not the media. Messages seeking comment was sent to attorneys for Smith and Jacobson. Jeffries and Smith were arrested in Florida and were due to make an initial court appearance Tuesday afternoon in West Palm Beach. Jacobson was arrested in Wisconsin and due in court in St. Paul, Minnesota, Brooklyn-based attorney. So they are charged with trafficking and interstate prostitution. Okay.
Wow.
So apparently, Abba and Preach discussed some of this. Apparently, is what they would do is they would pay people to do certain acts with them and with their partners, like outlandish amounts of money, intercourse and beyond, with dudes that couldn't do certain things. And they would even drug them to do certain things that they couldn't physically do because they weren't into said act. Okay. You could fill in the blank. So
they made them do gay stuff with straight dudes?
Yes, that's the thing.
Yo!
So I wonder, like, some of this is just straight, like, dominance and, like, a weird perversion of that. Another degree of it is, like, just fetishes, you know? Like, you're just into this sort of stuff. So what they would do is they would do this, and they even had a referral system. So you go out, you do some stuff, some gay stuff you don't want to do.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
You first have to get tested by one guy to see if they were into you. Then you get passed along, you'd get paid, and then they would ask you if there was anyone you wanted to refer.
Wow, it's like Alex Mosey's $100 million leads.
Yeah, they implemented Mosey's $1 million leads. So then they would do referrals to their friends who were also aspiring to get into the modeling and the entertainment world. And that is how they had this control over them.
This doesn't surprise me because I had a friend growing up that would work at Abercrombie and Fitch and always explained how creepy and over-sexual the workplace was and the dress code was crazy. And that made me think of this era when the same CEO made comments about people's appearances wearing his clothes.
What's up, guys? I'm Shishi from Pop News Daily. If you're not cool or skinny, then Abercrombie and Fitch doesn't want you to shop there.
This is very 11 years ago YouTube.
Gosh, dude, were people really like this on YouTube?
Yes, the pop news. So bad.
To the CEO, that is, Abercrombie & Fitch's Mike Jeffries is under fire for an interview he gave in which he said his clothing company isn't interested in selling to overweight women and not so cool kids. Mike told Salon magazine.
This dude is an idiot. Oh man, that aged like milk, bro.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yuck. So they were talking about this entire debacle. That this is being tied in, obviously, to the Diddy situation. Diddy argues that Abercrombie & Fitch ex-CEO is out on bail on serial sex charges, so he should be too.
Making a case. Hey,
he does kind of make a case.
If anything, I think it makes a case for the opposite.
The other guy should be in jail.
Yeah, you all should both be in jail. Who gave this man bail?
Yeah, what idiot judge in Florida was like, yeah, you should go free.
Ugh.
So a couple of things. One, again, in Alvin Preach's video, one of the interesting things they said is how this is very prevalent within the industry. Like women models end up on yachts, right? And this sort of stuff happens, right? And it's the carrot being held over your head to get into the industry, and then you're being passed around by wealthy dudes, and it extends to dudes on dudes and dudes on women and all kinds of crazy stuff. Diddy's doing it. So it's like Sodom and Gomorrah. It's like just utter debauchery, and it's very prevalent apparently in the industry. Now, people will then talk about these rituals and these swinger parties and all that kind of stuff, and so Abba was saying like this is one of the few things that like he never thought was a conspiracy about the entertainment industry. Like this sounds like way within the realm of possibilities because folks who are into this weird perverted stuff end up wanting more and more and more. Your flesh is insatiable. And so therefore you just completely go unhinged the more power you got, the more resources you got.
Sheesh.
You know, it's super dark.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So the flip side to all of this that no one wants to talk about is we will look at this. Some people will look at this and be like, yeah, lock up Diddy, lock up this guy, they're traffickers, da-da-da. On paper, this is almost verbatim the same thing that Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan Tate are being charged with. And so you have a certain amount of people, certain conservative talking heads that are railing against this sort of stuff and going, this is bad, this is terrible. You know, these people are traffickers, they're pimps, they're sadists, they're perverts, and they are against this, right? The Abercrombie & Fitch to Diddy, yet that is literally what Tate and his brother are being charged with, and on camera admitting to repeatedly across multiple continents.
And they're still getting this love.
Yeah, from some of the biggest podcasts. This is 8 days ago.
We brought Andrew Tate to the USA. It's like 8 days ago, guys. Still? Yeah, that's crazy.
So it's kind of an L that the degree of hypocrisy and the degree of double-mindedness certain creators in the space, certain conservative talking heads will have. They'll rail against Diddy, they'll rail against all this sort of stuff, and then they'll look the other way and say there's no evidence against Tate, even though there's a mountain of evidence of him on camera and his brother on camera talking about going after girls that are minors, going after girls to get them, to manipulate them, to go into this sort of line of work. Like this is so prevalent. The complete and utter brain rot to have an issue with Diddy and this guy and not have an issue with the Tate brothers is disgusting. I think this stuff should not be happening. If it's women on OnlyFans and using this sort of method, if it's models and dudes being, turned out to do this sort of work for crazy, like it's all debaucherous and all like absolutely needs to stop. I have a massive update for you. I'm sure by this point you've heard about the Blessed God Summit happening March 27th, 28th, 29th here in beautiful Carlsbad, California. But we've heard your requests. We've conceded to your demand. There are virtual tickets that are now available for the Blessed God Summit so you can access it from anywhere in the world, as well as access to the replays. And for those of you guys that are looking for something extra, we're also offering a virtual ticket and an exclusive Bless God Summit merch bundle. There's some amazing art and some exclusive pieces done by our friend Josh Nadeau from Sword and Pencil that you have to check out. So join us online for the virtual event and experience some sessions from my favorite podcasters, pastors, and performers. We have a stacked lineup. I'm talking about Preston Perry, Dr. Sean McDowell, Inspiring Philosophy. What do you mean? Lila Rose, Alan Parr and his wife Jen Parr. We even have Nate Sala from Wise Disciple, Gavin Ortland, David Wood, Avery from God Logic Apologetics. And on the pastoral side, we have my friend Daniel Golding, Pastor Ed Newton from CBC in San Antonio, and my personal pastor from Rhythm Church, Pastor Jeff Moores and his wife, Erin Moores. You won't want to miss out from amazing performances from America's Got Talent winner Dustin Savella, Billboard charting hip-hop artist John Keith, and Miles Minnick. And we're still finalizing a few more speakers. So head over to blessgod.shop, get your virtual ticket now, and you can get yourself a bundle with some of the exclusive merch as well. I'll see you over there, all right? Peace.